I got a question actually. What's the biggest thing you've gone into bat for now being in-house? Like, you don't have to get into specifics, but have you really sort of gone to war in a lot of these situations and really put your case forward for the sake of the business?
I wouldn't really say like I've necessarily gone to war for anything. Like, I think that for me, it's been more about like, I'm very lucky to have a lot of support in terms of people being on the same page about like, you know, things like putting the user first and the importance of content just in general. Like I'm a big believer in even like top of funnel content, especially at that enterprise level. Like I think it's so incredibly important. And then also just I guess getting the message across about like Search Console. Like I know it sounds kind of silly, but it's like a lot of people don't even really like other digital managers might not really lean on Search Console. And it's such a like people go hard into like SEMrush and Ahrefs and like Google Keyword Planner. But if you have a big site, like the amount of data that you have in Google Search Console is like absolutely insane, you know? And like there's just so much low hanging fruit there. And especially at like an enterprise level, even from like a documentation point of view, like I think for me, it's been more about fostering a culture of knowledge sharing around SEO data and going, reaching out to teams and saying, hey, like we have all this data. Would you like it? Do you want me to come and talk to you about how you can use it and how it can help you achieve your kind of KPIs? And that comes back to the holistic thing again that you were saying before about like SEO being a business practice and not just kind of a checklist. You know, there are so many different areas of a large business that can be that can benefit from SEO, and that's what's really powerful about it. But that's what also makes it very, very complicated when you're dealing with different teams, different KPIs, different leaders. You know, it's.
I think that's a really good approach to say, I got some data.
That's it.
Because it could really help you. That's a really good way of dealing with internal stakeholder management, to just go, I got some stuff that you may want to see. It's up to you. It's your choice.
Yeah, sure.
I can come in and do a nice little,
you know, X amount increase in engagement, but you know, I just stumbled across it. Like
it might help you conversions. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
And this is the thing as well. Like, you know, in-house, I think you probably see it less agency side because people come to you with a budget. You know, they've got, you know, for this financial year, we want to spend X amount. We have content writers and things like that. Ideally, when you're in-house, like there are limited resources and there are a lot of ideas. You know, so I always think that if you want to get SEO moving, especially as a channel that spans a lot of different stakeholders, like when you go to a team or when you ask for resources, it has to be an exchange that really benefits the person that you're asking for resources from. You know, so every time you go to a team, it's like, hey, I've got this giant gift and all I need is a tiny little one in return. Like, you know, sort of explaining the ROI to people.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest advantages of SEO as well, is there's so much data. It's easy to tell the story, and it's not like with UX, for example. A lot of it is, I think, adding this button here and then this specific design is going to increase
this will feel
by this.
Exactly. This will feel right.
But with SEO, it's like search volume is here. I can see that the search volume growth is also growing. This is a page that we need to create because it's missing on the website. But Sam, you mentioned something that was really interesting. And I think Sam's background is also really interesting because he has an honors in literature.
Yeah,
believe,
okay.
right?
You did your research, literature and politics.
Yeah. And I think that's a really interesting background to have because content is so important to SEO. So Sam, what are you doing at Rest, if you are happy to share, that's been really successful from the content side? Like, what are you seeing is really working to drive results?
Yeah, I think like not necessarily just at Rest, but like the approach in general. Like and also to address what you said, like literature as a background is very, very useful. And I worked for a while as a journalist as well. So like being in that kind of environment, I just think is so useful to like, I don't know, just be able to proofread something and give feedback. And yeah, I think it's super valuable. But I think what really works is one, being data driven, like I said, using Search Console, looking what are people actually searching for, and prioritizing your efforts in terms of like ROI largely, and then also taking a few bets as well. Like, I think people could be searching for this, but then also just getting yourself in the mind of the user. And I think also as well, like what a lot of people, I don't know if a lot of people do this, but I just do a lot of like XYZ Reddit, and I'll just look like what questions are people actually asking, to look for that kind of stuff that's like zero, you know what I mean? They call
weird,
it
deranged patterns of asking questions.
Or just,
the question will be 30 words long.
Questions.
Long tail stuff. And like,
but Google will tell you the sentiment that it's trying to pull from it, right? Like, it's whatever SERP it's appearing in should be the pillar keyword that it's trying to go for.
Yeah, for sure. Like, even if you search, like, I remember working with like a fitness client, and we put together this piece of content, and it was like, I was literally just on like the fitness subreddit, and I saw like 3 people asking like, which cardio machines burn the most calories? And there wasn't really any content on it. So I just pulled like a Harvard study, referenced that a bunch, put it up, and then like, within a month or 2 or something like that, it was doing like 10,000 visitors a month. So it's just that kind of stuff. It's like just using social listening tools and, using data to drive your content, and like a little bit of common sense, I just think goes like a huge way,
Yeah, like take the keywords, but then also just do a little bit of randomness around it. Like one of those things you mentioned, I'm sure you didn't think too much about it, but then suddenly it's got 10,000 views coming through per month, and you're like, oh wow, something in the background wasn't going for a big keyword.
And it is a little bit like, there is a science to it, but it's also a little bit of a game of probability, right? Like, if you publish 10 pieces, like, you might get 4 that do really well, 4 that kind of, like second page, bottom of the first page, maybe if you have enough authority, and then some other that just like get no engagement, or maybe they're being cannibalized by another piece or something like that,
Yeah, and you find there's always one article that Google seems to really love on a website for just no practical reason.
Yeah,
on
I know.
our website, it's an article about, is it good to use a dash or a underscore in URLs? For some reason, that article has ranked well for 10 years, basically.
Wow.
And I have no idea why. We are the authority in that article.
Yeah.
For some reason. It's wild. But no, it was a no-think thing, and it went up, and it's just ranked really well for years.
I think as well, like, to address that point, it's like, I think sometimes Google and other search engines don't see a reason to change the results very much. Like, if something's satisfying intent really well, and it has done for a long time, like I was looking at Stack Overflow because I wanted to look at, I just wanted to see how it had been doing, because I use AI so much for like coding. I just wanted to see what sort of trajectory it was on. And I saw one of the top keywords was just like A++, which is like from programming. Like, I'm not going to lie. And actually, I didn't actually look at what it meant. But the top article was Stack Overflow, and it was 14 years old. Wow. So it's just like, if there is a concept that you've explained really, really well, and it satisfies intent, and it's not, what they say, like, doesn't require freshness, it's not sort of topical, then I just like, why would they displace that top result if they're kind of like
playing it safe? Good to say.
That's a good
good
point.
enough.
Like, if the signals are all there, like,